Welcome to the Eggsverse, a realm where divine beings hold immense power. In this mystical pantheon, one deity stands out, Lumi, known as the weakest god. Picture this, a being born to the two mightiest gods, yet strangely fragile. Lumi's weakness defies the very notion of godhood, making an ordinary human seem formidable in comparison. Lumi shared a deep bond with her godly parents, who spared no effort to strengthen her. But despite their best attempts, her power remained stagnant, a perplexing limitation. Tragedy struck her family as her father met an impossible demise, followed by her mother's erratic behavior, forcing them into hiding. Eventually, her mother met a tragic end, leaving Lumi grieving and tormented. In a shocking revelation, Lumi discovered the sinister force behind these tragedies, the elder god of suffering. Fueled by an unyielding desire for vengeance, Lumi embarked on an intense training journey, aiming to confront and defeat this malevolent entity. However, fate seemed to have other plans, denying her the strength she so desperately sought. Her power remained locked in an unexplainable stasis, frustrating her relentless efforts. Amidst the divine community, opinions varied. Some saw her as feeble, unworthy of divine stature, while others expressed genuine compassion, extending their support. Yet, Lumi remained resolute, driven by her determination to confront the elder god, even at the cost of defying her own weakness. Her story, though marked by an unexpected weakness, stands as a testament to unwavering determination in the face of insurmountable odds. Join us as we delve into the fascinating tale of Lumi, the weakest god, in the Eggsverse. In the heart of her solitary training, Lumi felt a presence drawing near, a sense of unease coursing through her divine form. Wary from past betrayals and losses, she watched as a cloaked figure emerged from the shadows, an unsettling foreboding taking hold. Could this be the sinister hand of the elder god of suffering, ready to snuff out her flickering hope? Time seemed to halt as their eyes met, unspoken tension heavy in the air. Then, in a voice that carried an eerie calmness, the mysterious figure spoke. "Greetings, little one. I sense your burning desire for vengeance. I offer my assistance." Lumi's divine heart raced as she considered the stranger's words. Her instinct was to push them away, to reject help. But the promise of aid in her quest stirred something within her. She hesitated before cautiously replying, "I don't seek help, but..." Silence hung in the air, uncertainty palpable. The figure began to turn away, their intent clear. "I can reveal the general location of a weapon from the contractor's event," they offered. "But if you prefer solitude..." Lumi couldn't let them leave without knowing more. "Wait," she called out, curiosity outweighing caution. "What is this contractor's event?" The figure paused, their demeanor cryptic. "I won't delve into details," they replied enigmatically. "But what matters is that a weapon from it can harm EGS." Lumi's world shifted. Vengeance, once distant, now felt close. Her eyes widened as she inquired, "Where is this weapon?" Intrigue sparkled in the figure's eyes. "I have it here," they answered, purpose in their tone. "And if you wish, I can lift your curse." Lumi was taken aback. Her curse, a constant reminder of her weakness, had burdened her for so long. Suspicion mingled with hope as she questioned, "What's the catch? You're not doing this out of kindness." A faint smile touched the figure's lips. "I have my reasons," they replied cryptically. "So, is it a yes or no?" After contemplation, Lumi made her choice. With resolve in her eyes, she reached for the offered sword. As her fingers closed around its hilt, a radiant glow enveloped her, dispelling her curse and granting newfound strength. She turned to the enigmatic figure, gratitude and determination in her voice. "Thank you," she said, sincerely before returning to her training, her heart aflame with the prospect of confronting the elder god of suffering and avenging her parents' tragic fate. In the heart of the grand tournament of combat, the atmosphere crackled with anticipation. The audience had gathered in great numbers, eager to witness fierce battles between warriors from diverse backgrounds. At the center of the arena, the head organizers stood poised to address the spectators and officially commence the event. Waves of cheers and applause washed over the crowd. However, the tranquil scene was suddenly shattered by a dramatic interruption. A battered and bruised man came tumbling over the arena's towering walls. His entry was abrupt and chaotic, leaving the audience in awe. Despite his injuries, the man displayed extraordinary agility and combat prowess. Swiftly, he rose to his feet and deflected blows from an unseen force that left the audience astounded. As seconds ticked away, a second figure emerged, cloaked in a dark red suit that seemed to ripple with energy. This being moved with such incredible speed that it left visible marks on the arena floor. With an air of nonchalance, the red-clad figure questioned the first combatant. "I'm not in the mood to try any harder. Can you surrender?" In response, the first being stood defiant, replying, "If you don't put in more effort, I'll consider this a victory for me and a loss for you." The tension in the arena was palpable. The second being swiftly intercepted the trajectory of a falling katana, which landed to the left of the first being. With remarkable dexterity, the second figure moved closer, prompting the first to lunge with his sword. The katana, guided by an unseen force, intercepted the blade, creating a mesmerizing clash of steel. In an unexpected turn of events, the second being executed a powerful kick, sending the first being hurtling toward the ground. The resounding impact rendered the first fighter momentarily unconscious. The second being effortlessly caught the katana thrown into the air, earlier and moved to a specific area of the arena. The defeated combatant eventually regained consciousness and launched another attack. However, the second being's agility was relentless, evading each strike with incredible finesse and redirecting the force back upon the first fighter. The climax of the battle arrived as the second being delivered a devastating kick to the first's neck, the echoing crack audible to the entire audience. The first being was propelled across the arena, finally coming to a halt, groaning in pain. Before he could make another move, the second being uttered, "That was a pretty good fight." With those words, the katana in their possession was hurled with precision, piercing through the first fighter's head until the end of the blade vanished within. In an almost poetic manner, the second being walked away from the gruesome scene in the opposite direction. They expertly summoned the katana back towards them and swiftly cleaned the blade, sheathing it with practiced ease. As the audience watched in stunned silence, the second being disappeared through a portal, leaving behind the mutilated corpse of the fallen fighter. Amid the aftermath of this brutal encounter, we find ourselves in a serene garden, a stark contrast to the violence witnessed in the arena. Lumi, overwhelmed with grief, wept inconsolably. Her sobs echoed through the peaceful garden as she exclaimed, "I told you not to." Her outburst was evidently connected to the tumultuous fight that had just transpired. Seijin, "Lumi, I will always be your protector." Lumi, "I am grateful for your friendship." Flashback concludes. Aegis stealthily approaches Lumi's garden, completely concealing their presence. They spot a figure dressed in pitch-black tactical gear patrolling the perimeter, skillfully hiding their identity. Aegis continues their approach and discovers the lifeless body of a woman lying on the ground, next to a shattered tanto. She is wearing the same attire as the mysterious man. Close by, Lumi lies on the floor, her body covered in wounds, with a deep stab wound through the bottom of her mouth. Two men are attempting to pry a sword from her grip, their expressions filled with sorrow and distress. Aegis moves closer to Lumi and observes. She is severely injured. Upon closer inspection, they realize that although her soul is damaged, it remains intact, indicating that she is alive but unconscious. Standing up beside her, Aegis tries to piece together what transpired. After careful consideration, they deduce that Lumi was in the midst of her training when she suddenly felt an ominous presence, urging her to move forward. Without hesitation, she obeyed only to be attacked from behind. The wound was excruciating and somehow prevented her from utilizing her healing abilities. Turning around, she demanded, "Who are you?" Yet, no response came. Swiftly, she readied her sword and charged at the man before her. However, before she could reach him, another assailant thrust a sword through her arm. Reacting swiftly, she managed to step back, narrowly avoiding a devastating blow from a female wielding a massive hammer. As she struggled to regain her footing, her head narrowly escaped being severed by a fourth individual. Lumi quickly noticed that each of them bore the same emblem, a black Talon. Despite her dire circumstances, Lumi managed to create some distance between herself and her attackers. She knew that escape was futile. The first man lunged at her, stabbing her in the stomach. Seizing the opportunity, she retaliated by stabbing him in the foot and inflicting a minor cut on his arm. He hastily retreated, allowing the second man to make his move, wielding the tanto that had wounded her back. Lumi swiftly struck, shattering his weapon in half and causing him to stumble backward. She then pierced his hand with her own blade. The woman makes a swift attempt to strike Lumi with the hammer again, but Lumi is able to anticipate her move. With incredible speed, Lumi spins her sword and thrusts it into the woman's heart, causing her to slowly bleed out on the floor. Without wasting any time, Lumi charges towards the second unarmed man. However, she is caught off guard as the first man stabs her in the back of her leg. Just when she thinks things couldn't get worse, the third man reappears, ready to decapitate her, but Lumi manages to dodge, causing the blade to plunge into the bottom of her mouth and pierce her brain, rendering her unconscious. EGS, realizing what has happened, returns to Lumi's side and kneels beside her motionless body. They notice that Lumi is dreaming about Seijin, her recently deceased best friend, whom EGS was responsible for killing. EGS quickly decides to communicate with Lumi through her dream, using telepathy, saying, "I will only allow you to fight me if you eliminate the person who sent the black talons after you." Determined, EGS stands up and approaches the two men who are still trying to retrieve the sword. In their mind, they convey, "That sword you're looking for isn't even here," before forcefully smashing the men's heads together, killing them. EGS then takes a revolver from their side and shoots the third man in the head, ending his life as well. Looking at Lumi, EGS tends to her wounds and restores her soul. Lumi's face shows anguish and EGS walks away. After an unknown amount of time, Lumi wakes up. EGS is nowhere to be found, but Lumi looks extremely pale. EGS had appeared in her dream, which had turned into a nightmare, but Lumi understands the message and sets out on a quest to find the deity responsible.